So let's get started. I'm super
Let's
excited.
go.
Angela, would you mind just starting by introducing yourself? What do you do?
Okay.
Yeah. So Angela, the first question. So obviously you're trained neuropathic medicine specialist, which to some might mean something, to others maybe a
Yeah.
little bit less. But what would you say are the biggest environmental stressors? And how do you use, because you mentioned you help people kind of get better, get healthier. So how do you use those environmental stressors in your diagnosis?
When we look like naturopathy, yeah. So when we look
Mhm.
at health, we look at different dimensions of how you can achieve health and well-being. So then we look at the body, how your body is working. So what you eat, what you drink, your constitution. Then you look at the mind, your emotions and your thoughts, and then we look your awareness about who you are and your connection with others, the environment. So, and then that comes the environmental stresses. So there are different things that you can look at. First, we look at the, let's say, basic things in your building, ventilation, lighting, and then like any toxic materials that you might have. That's part of the decoration. Yes, like we have some paintings that create
Yes.
some health imbalance, some fabrics that release toxins. So we will look at that, and we're gonna try to match what the symptoms of the person that they're having this imbalance and how that would be connected with what's around the house, yeah, in terms of the
Yes.
physical part. And then there is one thing that I talk in my yoga classes is this perception about you and in connection with your house. Yeah, and then you have to go back to your senses. So I always say, come back to your five senses, yeah, because this is how you perceive your reality
Yes.
around you and your feelings. So then I will ask, how is your connection with your house? Do you feel okay there? Do you feel welcome? Do you feel that you are in your house? And that comes a lot your work, no, Katie, because that's
Yes,
exactly
yes. Yeah,
what.
indeed. Yes. I mean, we always kind of start with asking clients, because obviously they always want to change something. So uh, we ask, what is that? What are the pains? Like, where are the pains? What is that you don't like about this space now? What is working? What is not working for you? So whether it's a big renovation project, it's a complete revamp of the
Yeah.
space, or maybe just basically furnishing a space, um, that is, I mean, obviously we're furnishing a space, obviously a lot of the time it's a blank canvas, so then it's about looking really what clients like. But when it's a lived in space, then it's very important to find those pains, and usually people know straight away. Very rarely we kind of wait long for the answer, because they know, because obviously they lived in it, and they know what might be kind of irritating them, at different levels. And sometimes it's just the perception. Like, for example, it happened to myself yesterday, oh no, 2 days ago, when I was looking at the painting and I was like, oh my god, I really don't like the way this is kind of impacting me.
Yeah.
I just need to remove it straight away. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's
it's
amazing how it
hypersensitivity,
is.
but
Yeah, but it's amazing. We don't realize as much until you let us bringing the awareness to, in my case, to the patient, and you to your client, of this relationship, because it's so important, like a color, and
yes,
a furniture, like sometimes how the things are organized, because if there is an
yeah.
imbalance inside of you, it's going to be reflected in your house, and
Mm,
vice versa. Yeah, so then
exactly.
we try to bring that
Yeah.
relationship. It is so important for health and well-being. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's very important. I mean, your work
Yes.
obviously goes much deeper into
Into
kind of
the health.
identifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we've had some conversations before,
Yeah. No.
Angela. So you've mentioned the Feng Shui and Vastu. Uh, Obviously, everyone knows Feng Shui. wonderful sciences of home as healing spaces. I'm actually reading a really interesting book now about Feng Shui as healing. I would say it's kind of like brushes on the surface, but it does, I would say, does give a kind of a good overview of, you know, for people who want to kind of try and do something themselves. So obviously we know that these sciences can kind of boost our energies, can improve our lives. So what would you advise to homeowners? How can they boost their own energy by making small changes and sometimes even big changes? I mean, I do believe that sometimes you have to make very dramatic changes in order to achieve that balance.
Yeah, it's a very, as I said, it's a very complex subject in
Yes.
Vastu and Feng Shui, because I mean, they have masters on that, no? So they trained years. It's like some of them, they still training with their masters. They go lifelong training. But like just touching a little bit introduction about what they are. So in Vastu and in Feng Shui, they look at basically the chi, the energy of the house, and how this energy is flowing in the house, and your connection with that energy. So then they go from how to build a house and how you decorate the house. And then they look, okay, they look the energy of the house, and then for that they're gonna look the how the house is facing, north, south, east, and
Yeah.
west. So they build the house according to that, because they say that you have to put your house in an energy that is connected to the elements around you.
Yes.
So then they're gonna connect with the land where you built your house. They're gonna use sacred geometry to build the house, ventilation, flow of, all to do with the flow of chi inside the house. So Feng Shui is all about like the wind and the water. So like one is connected to water with the motions and the wind with the flow. So it's all about the connection. And then when, let's say, like say in Hong Kong and Taiwan is they always call a Feng Shui master to, before they build a house. And when to see how, just to see how it's gonna be in India as well, you learn together in architecture, and it's part of one of the modules in architecture degree and design, so that you learn that. But it's interesting that not all, I don't know now how it's, but it's supposed to be there. But it's when there is not done in this way, they say that it's gonna, and there is no balance, it's gonna create that energetic blockage. So then comes the designer with the Feng Shui, and then they get together and they say, look, you can change with the elements, because those sciences are there based on the 5 elements.
Yes.
So water, earth, fire, space, ether. In Feng Shui is more to do with Chinese medicine, and Vastu with the elements of Ayurveda. So in Feng Shui they might use metal instead of space.
Yes.
And then wood, and then what else they would use the water. So they connect all the air, no, all those elements, and how you, let's say, I have here, I'm gonna show you, it's very interesting. That's for my teacher, lovely Christian Kiriako, always got his name confused. My lovely teacher. So he goes like, say you have the plant of the house. So this is more Feng Shui. And then you get a sacred square. You put on the top of the plant of the house. So let me just do that for you properly. So then you see where the spaces of your house are placed with connection with the sacred square. It's very interesting. So then you can, I love see that. Yeah,
complex,
so then,
I think, but yeah, super interesting.
So you can see there is a part of health and wealth and blessings and fame and relationship. Let's say if you're gonna go, your toilet is on the area of wealth and blessings. So that's not a good place to have the toilet. So and then what they're gonna do, they're gonna use remedies to change, and then those remedies would be bagwas, sacred tiles. It depends, you know. I'm not
Mhm,
specialized in that, so I always would refer that to a specialist to have a look on that. But it's
mhm,
fascinating. It's a huge subject. But I would see, like, in my patient, I would check their symptoms, and
mhm.
then of course I will connect with all those things I told you about, um, their diet, um, how they are in mind and emotions, their connection with their house. And then if I see, like, look, the house is a big thing here, we need to
Yeah.
refer you, and then you go and see a specialist to deal with
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
imagine because they're like you said, very complex sciences. I think
yeah,
it's difficult to pinpoint exactly what could it be that doesn't work. Like it requires actually quite a lot of investigation. But
yeah.
I think there are some things that you can definitely do. One thing that comes always to my mind is the clutter, and
Ah,
obviously with feng shui is one of the biggest things. And it's I think people are naturally hoarders. We get attached to things. I mean, it's
yeah,
kind of like you need to kind of unteach yourself, um, and then clean it every now and then. Like houses, obviously the houses grow with us and change with us. So I think it's important to embrace those changes and also always look at the clutter. Do I really need it? How am I using it? Also the clutter kind of inside, not only the outside.
yeah,
Because that kind of having everything or having place for everything is one thing, is very, very important. And this is what a lot of clients come to us with, like, I don't have enough storage. I mean, the number of times I've heard it, um, incredible, almost every single time. I don't have storage for this, or I do have storage but I don't have accurate storage. And then I think that creates that potential anxiety and people getting nervous. Sometimes they
absolutely.
don't even know where it's coming from, but they know something is not working. I'm just gonna stop for a second. We have a question from Beta. She wrote, well, Angela, can you tell me where to read on it, please? So much.
Oh, yes. Oh, is that is so I would go. So in terms of Feng Shui, I would recommend, Chris, Kiriako, and lots of books on Feng Shui that you can have a
Yes,
look.
there are loads.
Um,
Mhm.
I this one is quite simple one. I got when I was at uni. It's Feng Shui from Stephen something. It's very easy one, but it was recommended by my teacher. And now something that we're talking about, Vastu is huge. I is more architecture. I don't have so much. I think in Feng Shui you have more those remedies. They use more Vastu. They focus more on the architecture, on the building
Yeah.
itself. I would say, I don't know on that. But one thing that you were saying about change, because the only
Yes.
constant in life is change. Nothing else is
Yes.
constant. Change is the only constant. And this idea of you um, uh, make your clients aware of that attachment to things, letting go, and organizing spaces, because it's too many things all the time. And that's
Yeah.
like your work is beautiful, and I see in your designs a lot. One of the things that I keep telling yourself, I love the aesthetics that you put, and the colors, because you mentioned as well, how can we look at this use of colors, because they are connected with the elements,
Yes.
use of materials. Like, let's say I am a Vata person, so it's all about air and ether. So I'm always there on the in the space thinking, and so I need things to ground myself. So like, I
Mm,
have to write things. I need elements in my house that are always grounding me. So that would
mm-hmm.
a nice thing to ask to your clients, like, um, how do you feel about, are you more in your mind, are you more grounded, and then you try to find the balance with the